Welcome to Flickering Myth Games Chat. I'm Alan Christian, and joining me is, of course, Gerald James.
It's me. I'm Gerald. Hi, guys.
And we got EJ Marino.
Yes, I can't wait to join you for something that's not, well, it's related to movies.
Oh yeah,
we're meeting in the middle.
Yeah, this is the crossover special right at the beginning.
This is the merging.
Oh no, this is like what is it called? The backdoor pilot.
Yeah.
Oh no.
This is the backdoor
like
pilot
Joey.
of Games Chat. What? No, they didn't. Did they backdoor pilot Joey?
I'm sure. No, they recasted everyone. No, this is the Golden Palace from Golden Girls.
Ooh. I like it.
The Jeffersons. Yeah. Let's just keep digging deeper until nobody that watches our YouTube knows what we're talking about. All right. We have a great segment to kick off Flickering Myth Games Chat. We're going to be talking about video game movies. We've got 3 topics. Are we going to do this as one video or 3 separates? What do y'all think?
I think 3 separates, but this is like the trilogy. This
yes.
is like this is
the only good trilogy having anything to do with video games movies. We're going to talk about the best video game adaptations on film, the worst video game adaptations on film, and the ones that we want to see. As usual, we'll start on a high note, end on a low note. What are the best, guys? What are the best?
Who wants to kick it off? Because
well, look, I don't want to jump off with my big one, but there's one that I remember very distinctly. It's Pokemon, the first movie. I think it's a solid film. Is it an adaptation of a game? Kind of.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's a movie form of an anime that is absolutely an adaptation of a game, so it counts.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to count like the Celebi movie or even Mew, the 2000 one, just that first one, that like the Mew and Mewtwo story, which I think is very integral to that first the game and all that. So I think this is a really solid film. Like, is it the best adaptation of it? No, but I don't want to see a direct adaptation of Pokemon. I think this was the best route to do it. And Mewtwo was like a meme lord before memes. So
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, but I enjoyed it. I saw it in theaters. I saw it in the Dollar Theater.
it was a cultural touchstone for sure. Like
it was. I wasn't even into that anime, and I had to see it because how could you not?
It's the first time I could think of that there was an anime in theaters. So that alone was pretty impressive.
Well, especially on that level, because you had like Akira and Ghost in the Shell and all that kind of thing, but those weren't. Circuits. This was. Yeah, because I mean, this was around the same time I saw the Digimon movie in theaters as well and stuff. So this was all of that time period, and this was a big moment. This is '99 as well, which is one of my favorite years for movies. '99 just has
Mystery Man.
Yes, Mystery Man. I mean, Phantom Menace. There's just a lot in this year to really make it like a pop culture year, and I think this is a good sum up of a video game movie. It's probably one of the better ones because it's not trying to do anything serious.
Yeah, that's fair. Gerald, what do you got?
Actually, I didn't even think that we were going to be talking about animated ones, so I'll throw one out there that I really loved whenever it came out on VHS, and that was Street Fighter, the movie. Another anime, but this one was kind of targeted towards American audiences. It had like this killer American rock soundtrack, and that one was a huge moment for me, especially because like it was formative for me. So you had anime, video games, and then there's a sequence where it's got Chun-Li fighting against Vega while she's like wearing a towel because she just got out of the shower, because obviously,
of course,
as you would,
while a KMFDM song is playing in the soundtrack. And it's just like everything melded together so perfectly. It was like, that's young Gerald right there in one sequence in the film. So of course that's going to get like high rankings for me.
I didn't even know there was. I thought you meant the movie with Raul Julia, who.
Oh no, that's on the list too.
I love that movie. It's
Oh,
not
it's
great.
terrible. It's
But-
terrible, but it's so great in its camp. And Raul Julia took a trash role and made it perfect.
That
That
man,
man,
quote, and for you, that
It's-
was a Tuesday, and for me, that was a Tuesday. Oh my god, he's so good.
The
I
best
follow-
thing about that is that Raul Julia was the worst casting for M. Bison, but
Absolutely.
then ended up being the only thing worth watching in that movie.
he was the only one that understood what he was in.
Yes.
Like, he acted the hell out of it, but even he, I think, realized that he was taking it way over the top. He was like, I'm gonna give these motherfuckers Shakespeare.
That's what it needed. Kylie Minogue wasn't doing anything in that movie, so
Oh, she did a lot for me.
All right. Mine at the top. Now, this is not okay. This is a great adaptation, and it's an awful, awful fucking movie. Postal.
I don't
Golf
even know what
clap.
this is.
Golf clap. I am
Hey,
so
Bull.
glad that you brought that up.
Uwe Boll adapted the Postal video games.
As he
And
does.
it's as an atrocious a movie as you can imagine an Uwe Boll movie being. But it is exactly the movie that Postal deserved.
Yep.
Somewhere on some long abandoned hard drive, there is a podcast of me and Gerald talking about this movie. It's one that I literally just got up and walked out of the room for. It's terrible, but I mean, the plot of Postal is terrible and stupid and exists just to offend people. And that's what this movie is.
And that's what he likes to do as well.
Yeah. So
That's kind of his style.
it works in that it is a thing that no one should watch. And that's what a Postal movie should have been. I mean, the Postal games have their merits in that they are ridiculous trash that can be fun, and they have a very juvenile sense of humor. But obviously, they're not there for the plot. So, yeah,
It's edgelord trash, but that's what the games were. So I can at least say for once in his goddamn life, Uwe Boll understood the source material.
Yes, he got it. In fairness, it's not that he didn't get House of the Dead.
Well, we will have this conversation in a different section.
Yeah. All right. Now, like, unless y'all got some more middle padding, I think it's time to actually bring the ones that you would consider best.
Yeah, okay. One of mine, Silent Hill. I actually do think it's a very good adaptation. Not the sequel, it's a very bad movie. This first movie, though, captures the tone, the feeling, the vibe, the atmosphere.
Mhm.
It's everything I kind of wanted from this, a Silent Hill movie. Is it a great movie? It's fine. I think it's not bad, actually. You know, you go back and watch, I think it was 2008, maybe. I think the Silent Hill movie, between 8 and 11 sometime this movie came out, and yeah, I actually really enjoyed. I think as a fan of the Silent Hill games, they did as great as they could. It was dark, it was moody, it was the games brought to life. So I think that's hard to do. I think that's kind of the balance, is bringing the things, but video games aren't always cinematic, especially games before 2011. So these need a little extra padding. I understood what they tried to do with Resident Evil, but this is the route that they should have went, and I do think Silent Hill is one of the best ones.
Yeah,
Silent Hill.
that's fair.
I'm glad I came loaded with a backup favorite, because dear God, Silent Hill is the top of the list for me. That movie, now they made some mistakes. They definitely made some mistakes. And if I recall, because I've looked into it, this was on the studio because they used Rose da Silva instead of Harry Mason, because for some odd reason the studio didn't feel that a father could love a daughter enough to go through that. Stupid as shit. But at the same time, they had to have a male character in the movie, so they added the father looking for her in Silent Hill, which are the worst parts of the movie, aside from the girl yelling Silent Hill at the beginning, which was just terrible. But as far as the tone of a game making it to a movie, nothing has ever matched this. I don't think anything ever will. And part of it was they had that Akira Yamaoka soundtrack, which, he is such a huge part of the atmosphere of those Silent Hill games. He is one of my favorite musicians, not video game composers, musicians. The dude is a freaking genius. Plus, you can tell that Christoph Gans, he knew like what he was doing with that film. He watched, or he played the games. He knew what he was getting into. It was sad because like I'm old, I have an ex-wife. And when my ex-wife was watching the film, she was looking at certain shots and was like, there's a health kit in that desk over there. And that should tell you how true to the games he was. And it was fantastic. And yeah, there was some, shit they did to kind of make it a little bit better. Like instead of just flipping over to Fogtown with Rust, there was the decaying away, and then they added the whole the town's been burning since whenever, and it's all ash instead of fog. But I can look past that because you're going to make concessions in movies about anything. And just for the atmosphere and the feel alone, Silent Hill is the absolute best movie brought to a video game.
That's fair. That's fair. I have one that I don't think most people would agree with, because as it was coming out, people were like, what the fuck is this? And as an adaptation, it's not an adaptation. And it's just bizarrely its own thing. Final Fantasy Spirits Within is a pretty decent movie.
It's weird as hell, though. But I guess Final Fantasy is weird. So
yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, plot-wise, people could be like, that plot's fucking weird. It's like, have you played a Final Fantasy game? Like, like, it's more coherent than most Final Fantasy games, I would argue. Like, I can at least follow it. It's certainly like, I don't know. It's certainly better than like the past 2 or 3 Final Fantasy games. As far as coherence and having an actual point to what's going on. I liked it. Was it wildly misguided? Yeah. Like, they spent so much money on that and made a whole bunch of decisions to I don't know what those decisions were about. They were like, we can't have it fantasy, it's got to be science fiction and blah 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 blah. We got to hit this beat, and this beat for American audiences or whatever. And then you're just like, who was this for? like I'm all about dodging like fan expectation to make something that would have a little bit more broad appeal. But there was none of that necessarily here. I sound like I'm shitting on it, but I'm not. I think it's good. Like, I think it's one of the better and certainly the most artfully done video game adaptation.
Way ahead of its time visually as well. Like,
that movie still looks great. Like,
it was doing things like James Cameron did with Avatar years before with more primitive technology. So yeah, I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, they made bad commercial decisions, but they didn't make a bad movie.
Like, it's one of those films I feel it happened that Square realized that they had Hollywood level artistry for the cutscenes of their games. Yeah. And they're like, what if we just made a feature length? Well, what are we going to do? Just retell the story of Final Fantasy? It's like, no, let's just make a new one. Okay. There's no one's going to care about crystals and shit.
Yeah. I do love Advent Children, though. That movie is fun. It's
Advent Children, I love it, but it ain't good.
That is true. I like it for the reason I like AMVs when I was like 16. So
like catching up with those characters in that film, it was fun, but they wrote them so poorly and just
that movie is high budget Linkin Park songs over DBZ clips.
But I love that.
I think I'm in the camp where like I don't get the 7 love. Like, I get it. 7's a good game, but I don't get where people were like, this is the best one and blah blah blah. It's gotta be remade and have like a million movies, and we gotta get into the lore. I'm like, it's good. Like, it is arguably, I mean, it's arguably like top 3 or 4, Final Fantasies, but like, I like 6 better. I like 10 better. Like, I mean, that's debatable. I don't, but
I play 10 too religiously, so I can't talk about much, but
I'd welcome arguments to 10, but if anybody tried to be like 7's better than 6, I just feel like you're fucking wrong. No. I'm sorry.
Kafka's the greatest video game villain of all time. I'll fight you if you disagree.
Hell yeah. This is one of the rare things that me and Gerald agree on. We got another one.
I was just going to say, like,
well, I was going to say, you probably have one of mine on my list, so.
Oh, no, please, go ahead.
I was going to say, my only holy grail, I've talked about it enough on this channel, it's Mortal Kombat. I think when Gerald was talking about, Silent Hill probably being one of the only ones to really capture it, I think Paul W.S. Anderson's Mortal Kombat is a very great adaptation. I think it got what it needed to do. If it was rated R, it would be even better. But because it needed that, because that's what the games were at that time. But it's that's what the new one's going to be, and that's kind of what inspired this conversation originally. We were talking about this I haven't seen it yet. I'm clamoring for it. It looks really good. I think Mortal Kombat is perfect for film, and I do think that first one gets it. I also sat through Mortal Kombat Annihilation because Shao Kahn was one of my first crushes. So like, I get it. He sounds like he's crying every time he speaks in that movie, and I love him. But yeah, I really love that first Mortal Kombat movie. It gets the characters. It's aged bad. Like, Riptile looks horrible, and Goro.
The effects
Yeah, but I think it's really good, and it gets the characters, gets the energy. Kano, they changed the game characters also based on that movie. Kano was never Australian before. The movie made him Australian. They ended up using Shang Tsung's actor in that movie in the later games. So I definitely think this movie is like a big cultural impact for video game movies, and it shaped my 1995, and also has one of the best songs of all time ever in it. So Techno Syndrome kills it. Also, Riptile's theme song is really great. A great techno score there.
Yeah, shockingly, like how many movies can claim that their theme was like a rave hit?
Yeah.
The first EDM album to go #1. Like, it was a moment in time. It's crazy. Like, 1995 was a weird. Enya was on the radio, and this was going crazy. Yeah, this is what I needed.
I love the movie. I will disagree. I feel like tonally it was a little bit off from the games, but in the way that it needed to be for the films. You're not going to put butts in seats with just a 1-to-1 back then anyway, because I mean, 1-to-1 is just, here's a contest and let's make it as bloody as possible. Then you're going to kill off all your characters, and there's not much going on there. But
that's true. There was very little mortal to that combat in that movie, but still.
And Christopher Lambert is Raiden. Come on, guys.
Oh yeah, that's bad casting. I mean, Christopher Lambert is. We got a whole Highlander series that we need to do. But yeah, you're right. No, I like that movie though. Still,
he's special though.
Yeah, sure. Gerald, you got anything else?
You know what? I'll talk about later. We've got another one of these to do, and it falls on both lists. So
okay,
stay tuned for that.
I've never heard better sequel bait in my life. Thank you. That was better than let's talk about the Avengers Initiative. That was great.
We get through your list, EJ?
Yeah. Yep. I had Pokemon, Silent Hill, Mortal Kombat. Again, there's other ones I kind of like. I saw Blood Rain maybe more than once, so we'll talk about that on another list. But still,
yeah.
there's some I don't hate. I don't hate the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's
Yeah, I don't
bad.
either.
We will talk about it either. It's hilarious. But yes.
Tune in next to the next video for the Uwe Bowl special. We'll be covering the worst video game adaptations. So we will see you in the next one where we talk about the worst video game movies. Let us know what your favorite video game adaptations are in the comments down below.
We probably forgot one.
I'm sure we did. There's somebody who's going to be like Resident Evil, and we'll talk about it. All right, goodbye.